Welcome to Start Now, a conversational podcast which discusses topical issues designed to get people to think about the challenges occurring in the world around us and how each of us can be a part of positive, transformative change. Start Now is meant to be informative and engaging while encouraging and motivating people to start where they are and with the resources they have to make a difference in their communities and in the worlds around them. Let's start now.
Record here, go there. Look here.
Welcome to Start Now. We are so excited that you all have joined us today for today's podcast. And in today's episode, we are going to be focused on Women's HERstory Month. So not history, HERstory Month. And I'm really excited because today I get to interview and talk to one of my dearest and just friends, somebody I really, really admire. Like, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you in words how much I admire Miss Tymisha Tush Harris. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for asking me to join you. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So yes, I feel like the audience members are just going to get an amazing story today. I love you so much. And so I'm really excited. I'm like a little kid in a candy shop. You know, if I loved candy like that, just running all over the place, grabbing up everything, I'd be like, oh my gosh, Tymisha. Okay. So I'm going to start by telling our audience a little bit about our backstory on how we met many, many, many moons ago. So, because I ain't going to give our age because we're still young, gorgeous, and fly and beautiful. But so back in the day, many people may not know this, but back in the day, there was a point in time where actor and singer Tyrese also wanted to be a rapper. Think, you know, Michael Jordan when he wanted to cross over to baseball, right? So anyway.
3,000 watts. Anybody know that song? Yeah.
Yes. Got his start, you know, singing about Coke on a bus. Oh, and then did all these phenomenal movies. But yeah, so he wanted to be a rapper. And so we were preparing for the Alter Ego Black Tie Tour. And we were working with an up-and-coming artist. And so Tymisha and I didn't know each other at all. We walked into the dance studio that day, and I saw this just gorgeous being of a person, you know, just laughing, talking to everybody. And for those who don't really know me, like I'm kind of an introvert. Like it seems like I'm an extrovert, you know, when I'm, you know, talking and on air and everything, but I don't just naturally go up and introduce myself to people. Anyway, Tymisha's work in the room, just natural. And I said, ooh, I want to be her friend. And so not really knowing that we would end up as lifelong friends, we did become friends, and we did end up start working together on choreography. And it's like, to this day, I can remember just the energy and the personality and the humor that Tymisha would always bring to a room. And so we ended up working on choreography together. And it was always, in my opinion, it was always just a brilliant mix of hard work and dedication and your craft, but a lot of fun in between times, you know. So it wasn't just like work, and I wasn't always like play. It was always, in my opinion, a perfect mixture. So to this day, you are still somebody that I have always enjoyed working with. And then fast forward to today, you have performed in, right. You have performed in hundreds of shows, played dozens of characters, toured nationally and internationally throughout the US, Canada, Australia. I know prior to COVID, I could not keep up with you. Literally, I had to follow you on Facebook and Instagram and be like, oh, okay, she's here today. Oh, okay, wait, how did she get? Wow, that's okay. Exactly. You know, and so every time you step on a stage, you just continue to inspire audience after audience. And so I kind of want to go back to your beginning and say, how did you get started in the performing arts?
Goodness. Well, my mother put me in ballet when she was taking ballet classes and so on and so forth when I was probably 3 or so. And so things happen. I don't want to get into that at the moment because I guess that would bring the whole story down. But getting into performing arts, I just kind of continued going to dance classes and so on and so forth. And then I think the very first thing I did was something called Showtime USA, which is like a kind of a USO for local military bases. You know what I mean? Not local, but national military bases. But I only did the one in El Paso, Texas. So, but anyway, yeah, that kind of lit the fire, I guess. Had me, oh, well, this is fun. This is kind of cool. I'm not afraid to be up in front of an audience. All right, well, okay, let's try it out. And then just kept taking dance classes. And so there come the recitals and there come all of the other things that happen. And then I moved to Orlando and continue the streak.
So at what point was it for you? Because I know we all kind of have like that, turning moment, that really makes us know that this is something that I want to do. At what point did you know that this was something that you wanted to do as a profession?
Like a turning point, like a like an like a
Yeah,
like a
like maybe like a light bulb, or like you're like, you know what? I woke up one day and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep on doing this. Did you ever
um
have one of those moments?
well, when I realized that, like, oh snap, I could do something that's cool, that like this is really a thing,
Right.
was my first job in Orlando, and that was assistant choreographer for NSYNC. Like, my first day was Lance's first day, right?
Okay.
And these were people. Oh, so the choreographer was somebody that I met was from El Paso, and
Okay.
there was about 30 of us that moved to Orlando, and we're doing this thing, trying to work at Disney, trying to do things and all the things. And they were like, Orlando's going to be the next big Hollywood. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, like, sweet. I didn't want to go to LA or New York to be a waitress, at
Mm-hmm.
that time. And anyway, let's go to Orlando. And the first gig that we get is he's doing a choreography for NSYNC. And I'm like, who are these kids? I
Right.
stopped watching the Mickey Mouse Club. I don't care. But who are these kids? And I got my first paycheck.
Yeah, I'll keep doing this.
Okay.
Right. You mean
you
I can
know,
get paid to
I can
dance?
get
Okay.
paid for just like we were, helping doing the choreography in the living room and things in the dance classes. And it was great. And like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I started to realize that there's different things going on. Orlando did have a lot of stuff going on. I got my first tour from here. I've been based here most of my life since I was 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, ever since I've known you, you've been in Central Florida.
Yeah.
So
I tried New York for a few years, but back to Orlando.
yeah. Well, did you ever want to do anything else? Because sometimes, the little girls will have dreams of like being, oh, I want to be a ballerina. They're like, oh, wait, I want to be a soccer star. Did you ever want to be anything else or?
Um, hmm. I don't think I ever put it down. Put it like, I am a dancer. I love
Mhm.
movement. I love movement and feeling the rhythm and finding that vibe. So I will always be a dancer.
Right.
Singing singing is lovely. Uh, Takes my spirit into a different place and resonates differently for me. So that just went there. Acting. I mean, I walk stilts. I do puppet. Excuse me. I do puppetry. I I create costumes. I do choreography. And if being an artist, if there's a performance artist, creative artist in there, if that's what that is, that's where I am. I'm not that much of a writer, but I do like to write my journals. I like, and I do have a nice flair with the pen, but I haven't found that passion just yet. So that might come into
Right.
play. I want to become a fashion designer.
That
Probably
sounds
more
fun.
costumes, probably more costume, but I don't know. See, that's another thing. Which angle do I weave into? But you never know.
Yeah, and it's interesting because since you and I stopped working together, obviously, we're in two different cities now. I obviously follow you like on social media, and there was one performance you did. You were this beautiful, like exotic bird, and it's so crazy because how do you think like a person really kind of embodies an animal, right? But you had so much grace, and then the costume that you had, it was like a combination of like these sticks almost, and then the fabric for like the wings, and you had like a little recording of it, and to see you moving, it's like you always are able to really embody that character or that persona that you are supposed to be playing. It was just gorgeous, in my opinion.
It's a thank you. That's part of the puppetry. That was part of the puppetry show that I did with Heather Henson, and it was wonderful. It was so relaxing. It's kind of like therapy for me. It's like therapy to find my way and make something come to life. Give me a prop and I'm on it.
Right.
Give me something to work with, and I'm like, hey.
But I feel like too, that's just like the improv genius inside of you. You know, it's like you literally, and there used to be a show, I forgot what it was called, but it's like you literally can just give you like anything and say, okay, here, go. I'm going to give you this incense stick, or I'm going to give you this mop. Just go and be and do. Right. And all of a sudden, like 10 minutes later, Ty's going to come up with like this amazing like dance and performance, like she practiced this 2 months ago.
Is that just there? What?
Right. So I want to talk about, you have your email, your social media is Tush versus Tymisha. Okay. And so I want to see, sometimes people will have like these nicknames that they'll come up with, or maybe the stage name. Is there a difference between Tush and Tymisha Harris, and who Tymisha Harris is in real life? Like, who is that?
Honestly, Tush came from necessity. A lot of people would not remember how to say my name. Tymisha, easy.
Okay.
You know, like Tymisha. I'm cool with that. If you're from the South, you get a little twang in there. You get a little hey, Tymisha. It's cool. You know, my family calls me Misha, but Tush came from people not remembering my name. It would be, and specifically one person would be like, Tush, Tushmilla, Tushmisha. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, but it's kind of like, how do you even get Tush? You know, for the people who are messing it up, like, how do you even get Tush out of Tymisha?
How do you even get that? And then people started to take notice that I did happen to have a really nice tush. Just was out one day and it made sense. And
of all the things to be known for, yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Hand in hand, pretty level, nice curvature. It's nice. It's full. It's got a mind of its own. It doesn't like to be covered.
Serves its purpose.
Serves its purpose. It doesn't like to be covered. It's always a star member of the show.
Anybody who knows you, they know that is true.
Not my fault. Tush has a mind of her own. So yeah, and you know what? And then it became really easy to say it to older people. You know, our older generation. And what did you say? Right. Call me Tush. You know what I'm calling you, right? And that kind of breaks a little barrier. It breaks it as well as our younger generation, our kids. And if I'm teaching classes, Miss Tush, can I ask you a question? Yes, you can. And it kind of breaks it down a little bit. So it breaks a few walls, barriers that allows folks to be relaxed and trust me, because I'm not here to harm you. I'm only here to help. I serve the people.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I think sometimes you own your craft. Like, you are so incredibly talented and phenomenal, and I think sometimes that might, you know, intimidate people, and they may think, oh, well, I can't approach her, or, you know, I can't talk to her, like, you know, kind of like intimidating. They're almost scared in a way. And it's so funny because you are one of the most personable and amazing people that I know. So it's so funny to me that, you know, people be like scared of.
Yeah, you know, I find it really funny. I used to get stood up all the time.
Like, going on dates?
I was trying to go on dates and whatnot and living the single life. I never went on any of the apps. I never did that, but going on just going out and meeting people, because that's it. And the next time trying to go on dates, oh, you're gonna stand me up? Okay. okay. So I was like, forget it.
it's interesting because it's like at the time you're like, are you serious right now? Like, how are you going to stand me up? You know, it kind of hurts. You might feel like a little sad, a little disappointed. You might start to question what's wrong with me, maybe a little insecurity. But then at the end of it, like afterwards, you're like, wait, first of all, you did me a favor. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Thank you. You just saved a whole lot. And don't ooh, nope, nope. You just saved a whole lot
yes,
of drama that I am not going to
yes,
deal with.
right, right, yes.
I ain't.
So,
Nope, it's cool. Hope I see you in the streets.
but the thing about it is, like, if you did, I would be like, oh, I'm sorry, do I know you? And keep on walking.
Oh my gosh, that happened to me the other day at the show.
Did they act like they know you? Like they came up, be like, "Hey, girl, how about we go out sometime?"
Well, no.
Okay.
Oh goodness, that's a whole nother story for another time. It's goodness gracious.
Wow. Okay. You know, men are interesting, but you know what? We'll do another episode.
Another show, another time. Volume 2.
Another time. We're focusing on you. All right. So over the years, you have played so many different characters and so many different venues on so many different stages. I want to know, what was your most memorable either performance or character that you played, and why was it memorable to you? Like, what out of everything else made that one stick out? We can't talk about this one, the show you're in now, because we're about to talk about that later. So,
okay.
past performances.
Oh, gosh, there's so.
And disclaimer to our audience: you're gonna hear her sing throughout as she's talking, so I'm excited about it. She's putting her thoughts together. She'll put it in song form.
And when I see this, I see when I did that thing. Ooh, it was good. I might dance. You never know. You never.
Right.
Never.
I'll get up with you.
Yes, let's do a routine.
Relive those days.
5. Oh my gosh.
Right. 5, 6, 7, 8.
And then D-Love.
Shows. Your favorite show. We're talking about your favorite shows.
My shows.
This is why we can't get together. This is what happens.
I'm glad you're doing notes. I'm glad you have notes.
I am. I have notes. Keep us on focus.
Let's see. My favorite show. Well, I do have a favorite show that never was, in a way.
Okay.
We had our first 2 months of going out. We had 4 months rehearsal. Then we had 2 months of actually opening up. It's like our soft opening, but opening.
Right.
And I was a clown. I was a clown, but I couldn't talk. I couldn't do anything. I had to do all this movement, and I had this face, this outfit, and my hair, and the things. And me and other clowns had a full conversation, and it was just like I fully understood what that was, you know. Okay. And the audience was vast. It was another tent show. I don't know why I get these shows in tents.
Gotta be one with nature.
Yeah, there was a lot of horse poop too.
Stop. So this might be like, part A and part B of this question, because it's also, what was your least favorite?
My least favorite might have been the time that I got kicked in the face with some of that horse poop.
Stop it. Are you serious? Okay. I know as performers, we gotta play stuff off. I don't think I could play that off.
Blam. Oh my gosh. There's a couple. It was, yeah, that was an interesting show that never was. Goodness. When was like I keep seeing these flashes of the poetry of puppetry and being with my girl group. One time we had an excellent show. We had an excellent time in Atlanta and thought, okay, we're well on our way. And then nope.
Nothing.
I think we broke up shortly after that or something. I don't know. But
oh my gosh! So it's like you thought.
I'm in for the ride. I had a great time. Everything's a new adventure. It's hard for me to really say. That's a good question. Maybe I'll have another answer at the end, at the very end.
You'll be able to like think of it like, oh yeah, that was like a really good one. Okay.
Really
All right. So you just talked about the horse poop. I hope you don't think I was gonna let that go. That's like a big, I don't know, if I had horse poop thrown on my face while I was dancing. So this was some years ago, I was a choreographer for this fashion show, right? And fashion show runways are like really long and narrow. And the theme for this fashion show was a very modern, very contemporary Alice in Wonderland theme. And so I was playing Tweedledee was one of the characters. So we literally had like this really, great dance that we were doing, but you were playing this character at the same time. I remember when I rolled backwards, I literally fell off the stage. Like I rolled off the stage. And so the stage probably was like 4 feet off the ground at least. And you know how close the front row is in a fashion show, right? These people,
sorry.
When I tell you they did not know what to do, right? And I'm like freaking out because I'm like, how did I get here? So I'm like, you playing it off, doing all this crazy stuff, because now I have to get back up on the stage like it didn't happen, right? And then get back on the choreography. Luckily, I was this character, so it's like you were saying, before when you're playing these characters and you're playing that clown, and I had a little the hat that the Tweedledee and Tweedledum wore in the thing. And so I just was playing with like my little beanie, playing it off while I'm getting back up on the stage, acting like I'm trying to get it back up, but couldn't. But really, I couldn't get back up.
But really. But really. Oh my gosh.
One of your most embarrassing moments, and I don't know if it's going to be the horse poop.
Yeah, because that was, no, not the horse poop. Well, it's funny. The very first tour that I did was called Mickey's Great Inflation Celebration.
Okay.
Right. And it was a big old thing where Mickey and his crew could put one thing in, tie the balloon thing, the balloon machine, you put it in, and then it'll come out a 30-foot balloon, right?
Right.
So everything was inflatables and here and here and here. And one day we had one of those really small audiences, and a partner of mine, a balloonatech is what we were called.
Okay.
He decides he's going to clown around a little bit. And la 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 la, and at one point the thing's supposed to deflate, and we've got to pump it back up to get it where it's going. Sorry, Mickey, we're doing our best, right?
Right.
I'm pushing at one. He comes in and was like, ha, ha, ha. I slide in, I like ricochet off of it and slide in between the stage and the inflatable, but the suction happens and I get stuck. I get stuck there for the rest of the show. I couldn't.
What did you do?
Nothing. I couldn't.
Like you're like on the mast of a ship.
I was on the mast of the ship, in between the stage and the thing, and I just sat there and looked at the people. I just looked at the people. That same show, we used to have an inflatable cake that went in, and I had these horns on my helmet, and the same kid clowning around. Don't horseplay, y'all. Don't horseplay on stage.
Right.
Same click, clowning around, going all fast, caught my horn and started to pull me into the hole. Almost died there, but no, didn't. I
really thought you were about to say though, like your horn popped the balloons and all the balloons in the show just started popping.
Like I'm sorry. No, it was something that went in like county fairs and such, and so they were just get it done. I learned so much at that first time out on the road and seeing what it was like, as like I said earlier or before, performing to small audiences. You got to do it. Yeah, it's their first time seeing it, no matter what. Unless you cancel the thing, it's their first time seeing it. So why make it less of an experience? And then the first time I learned, if you're a character and you caught off guard, or you better make a character choice.
Yes, ma'am.
You better make that right note face, like, oh yeah, it was me, I was supposed to do it. You know, I learned a
Well,
lot.
that's what's interesting, is that people don't know that a lot of time dancers also are actors and actresses at the same time. Goes hand in hand.
Two sides of a different coin, huh? The same side of a
Right.
different coin.
Whatever that saying is, that's what we are.
You got some
Yes.
coins, you're on it.
Okay, so one of your greatest shows to date is Josephine, where you play Josephine Baker. Now, so for those who don't know, Josephine Baker was American-born entertainer, but performed in France pretty much the majority of her career, right? Like, I know she came back over to America and tried to perform as well, but she also is integral during World War and also combated racism in the United States. So she was also an entertainer, but spoke out for injustices. And she really had this belief that people of all races, all diversities, all nationalities could really get along together and live in harmony. So you play the iconic Josephine Baker in this show. It may seem self-explanatory, but why Josephine Baker? How did this show come about?
Well, originally, I had expressed to my partners and my partner that I needed something. So I needed a vehicle that I could know that I could do, you know? And so he suggested, let's create a one-woman show for you. And I was like, okay. And originally we were thinking about Tina Turner, because I also impersonate Tina.
You do. Y'all, if you haven't seen it, she's amazing. Big whiskey. Proud Mary.
Burn it. Oh, they know the real one. Yeah.
If you ever need a background, I will be your backup dancer and singer. Yes, yes.
I know who to call. Are you ready for me? So it was, all right, maybe we do a Tina show. And then realizing that Tina has a movie, she's still alive, and all these things. And when we created the show, it was also 2015. So America's political situation was terrible. It was really bleak. And a friend of ours just threw out one day, we suggested, how about Josephine Baker? And it went off like light bulbs. We started doing all the research, going back to it. And mind you, I had seen Josephine when I saw the movie on HBO when I was 17. So she's always been there. On my little shoulder talking to me. Go ahead, try it. You never know. You could get caught in a cake one day. But realizing how much her story got lost in throughout this history and throughout our history, and how important it was. And, Josephine was a remarkable person. She sang, she danced, she acted, and I was checking all those boxes. I said, okay, well, let's do it. And so we debuted it in 2016, right after the Pulse tragedy over here in Orlando. So that was our opening week, and I hadn't learned the script, I hadn't done anything. We debuted it in San Diego and started off with 14 or 16 people in the audience, but then we ended up overselling the venue each show, and by the 7th performance we had 330 people in the venue. That only was supposed to hold 125 seats. They had to oversew and do to the balcony because the stage was so big. They had 125 seat risers on the stage, right? And it was in a theater that sat 1,200. And so they had to open it up into the second balcony and sell those extra seats. And I was like, oh, we have something here. Like, we have something here. Like, and it was even crazy because the first time when we had that first small audience, that was my dress rehearsal. That was the first time I had put it on stage. That was the first time I had done it. Luckily I'm that comfortable on stage, that that I can just, that I worked on my own costume changes and all these things while I was still trying to memorize lines, which was, I don't recommend.
Well, and I was about to say, so for those who don't know, you know, what performing is like, being on stage, what she's talking about is actually an incredible feat, because before performers go on stage, you know, dancers, singers, whatever, we always have our dress rehearsal or our tech rehearsal, you know, where we get to mark it on stage, we get to go through the lighting, we get to go through the sound. So the fact that your dress rehearsal was your first performance is insane.
I mean, we walked in and I saw the show. We did the tech rehearsal, which was 4 hours to set up and get it in. And luckily we were the first show. So it was just like, boom, 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 boom. Okay, this is it. Like, amazing.
Yeah.
But as we did it, that I think we did 7 shows that week. As we did it, and it grew and it started to, okay, find a small groove. It really, that's when I knew I had something really major, because that was a whole another coast. Those were people that don't know me. Orlando folks know me. It's cool. They're gonna come and support and be like, oh, you were great. Loved it. We needed to hear an honest assessment. We needed to know what people that I couldn't just charm.
Right.
You know, or so it worked out. That was truly one of the most amazing performances ever.
That's awesome. But let me go back real quick, because you have won National Entertainer of the Year. Did you win that award on the East Coast or the West Coast?
That takes place in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
It takes place in Louisville. Yeah, it's Louisville.
Yeah, I think so. Kentucky.
Yeah, she takes place in Louisville, and
it takes place the same place where the people say Tymisha. that's where that takes place.
Oh, well, I'm like, call me Tush. Thank you.
Right.
I won with Tush from the House of Star.
Okay.
Did I win that same? No, I won it in 2000. Yes, that was the year before when we started making the show. Was 2015, and then we debuted it on the 16th. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. That was a terrible experience. I have to say this, my step down, which is, you know, when I give away the crown to the next successor or whatever. Talk about a week of crap. It was awful. It was awful. From the unfortunate leaving to the trying to get home end. It was one of the most awful experiences of my life.
All right, so we'll move you away from that. I was just thinking, because for some reason I thought that was something that was awarded in Vegas, because I know you also have done some shows out there or whatever. So I wasn't really sure where they had that, you know, national awarding of that honor and title. So back
it could have been a different one. Who knows? Who, you know?
I know, because you're so talented. You've won so many awards. So over this 5-6 year period, I don't do math. You have traveled, Josephine, all over the nation, internationally. And so many people have had the opportunity to see this show. For those who have not had the opportunity, what can they expect from Josephine?
Josephine will offer a traditional cabaret, as well as a play, as well as a history lesson with a little bit of burlesque. So you learn a lot about Josephine's life in 75 minutes. And you see a lot of Josephine's body.
That's what she's known for, though, because it's like a couple of her most iconic performances. One, she literally was wearing like a banana skirt, right? Bananas around on her skirt. And then one is like a feather, like a feather dancer routine.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's, I try to open as many eyes as possible to her wisdom. She was extraordinary, and she wanted to just love. She wanted to be loved. She wanted to be understood. One of my favorite quotes is, surely the day will come when color means nothing more than skin tone, when religion is seen uniquely as a way to express one's soul, when birthplaces have the weight of the throw of the dice, and when all men are born free. And for me, it just speaks so many volumes to where we could go as a society. and I wish I knew exactly when that quote was. I wish I was that accurate with it, but you know, she died in 75, so this was in, I would say, 50, 1950s, somewhere in there. So she had a lot to say, and I'm honored to bring it out and bring it to the world, you know, to folks, and that way they can go home and do their own research and start hopefully finding other people that inspire them in that way.
Right.
You know, there's so many people in history that haven't had their stories told, or just barely touched on, and let's change that.
Yeah.
Let's break the mold.
And that's why I feel like it's so brilliant and so just right on point for you to play this character, for you to play her, because what people don't know about you, what I'm honored and fortunate to know, is that in so many ways you really embody Josephine Baker, the way you use your voice, how passionate you are, how compassionate you are, just how kind and friendly you are, and just like the wisdom that you have. And I know we always joke like we don't really think we're wise, but it's like when you sit and you have these conversations, you really kind of get to the depth of your heart and your soul, and learn more about how you fit into the universe, if that makes sense. So I want to ask you, and I know I've seen it before, just obviously throughout our friendship, but how do you use your platform to really help with civil rights, to help speak out about injustices, to help with women's rights movements and African American rights, and the LGBTQ plus community? How do you use your platform to speak out for these different communities?
It's interesting because I've tried to figure this out. I'm still trying to figure this out, how to use it better, how to use my platform better. But Josephine, her life, she did these things. She had multiple relationships with women and men. You know, she was out and about in the streets a little bit, as one would do in the 20s. She was a spy for the French Resistance. She attempted to create a, a little world where she adopted 12 different children from different countries and different nations, and wanted to create this kind of social experiment that she did, and teach people that that we all know brotherhood. It's this hate and evilness is taught to us, and we have to unlearn certain things. So trying to figure out exactly where where the show fits in, or what more I can do. I'm always open and looking for that right thing. All I feel like I can do is at the moment invite as many different types of people to the show as I possibly can, and by that brings unity and brings that compassion, because when you see the show, it takes you through a lot of different emotions, and that's the intention. I'm pulling on those heartstrings, that you think about the situation that we're in right now and look at it for what it is, and not, oh well, this is, because if we don't talk about it and figure out, we're never going to.
Exactly.
So I'm ready to start the conversation, and the race conversation is a huge one. There's certain things that I want to talk about. So yeah, trying to find the right platform is difficult, but I'm open. I'm talking to you all out there in space.
But
I
honestly,
do.
I feel like you are there. I feel like you have this platform. You already are there because you've taken this iconic historic figure who was a real person. You know, you're not portraying just some character you made up.
Yeah.
You know, who did all these amazing things and really had the heart for unity and, you know, to have this inclusivity and, you know, to speak on the beauty of diversity, and you're portraying this person, you know, and so you're able to really talk about, when you say that people will see a little bit of history throughout the show, they'll be able to learn about this person. And I feel like just having that conversation, it already helps so much. And I
Yeah.
feel, yeah. Well, I feel like you segued brilliantly into the next question too, because you were talking about race, and I know that not only as African American woman, but you know, as a woman just in general, it can be difficult in the field of performing arts. So, what are some of the struggles that you faced as a performer, and what are some challenges that you still face now?
Hmm. Interesting. Finding a role that I really believed in. Finding a role that I could see myself in was a challenge when I was doing different auditions and so on and
Mhm.
so forth, and trying to do the acting thing and whatnot, going to Tampa, St. Pete, and whatever, or different roles, and it was just like, God, I don't want to play this character. You know, I don't want to do that. And that's probably where I was feeling the need for something. You know, I was doing all kinds of shows and trying to fit in, but I remember being on stage on the Rock of Ages one time, being we're singing, and I was crying backstage. The song was "I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore," and I was like, "I can't fight this feeling anymore." And
Right.
I like, I'm not happy here, you know,
Right.
and I don't want to feel that anymore. Once you know that you can't fight that feeling
Mhm.
anymore, it's, hey, just like any
Yep.
other job, it's time to go.
Time to go.
It's time to go. So what was the question?
Challenges and struggles that you faced
Challenges and
as a
struggles.
performer,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
and do
Finding
you still have those struggles and challenges today, or are they new challenges and struggles?
uh, well, you know, the challenges that I see, well, I haven't auditioned for things in a long time, so I'm not out
Mhm.
there as much as I could be, and I think that might be take a move to Atlanta sooner or later. But I have gotten discouraged a couple times, to be honest, watching television. Just watching TV, I'll be up there with my partner watching TV, and I am looking as an extra. I'm
Mhm.
looking at the extras in the background. I'm looking at, besides the costuming, right? I am looking at the extra work and who could be this person. How come there aren't more people that look like me in the background?
Right.
Or, and not to mention just the leads, a speaking role. Sure, awesome, you know, but just even in the background. And I would love to figure out how to change that. I would love to go and infiltrate, and because I feel like I could have, if I had stuck with it and gone a different place, gone to LA and things like this, I would be in a different spot.
Mhm.
But uh, how long was I going to be in the background?
You know, and it's so funny to me to hear you say that, because you definitely are not an extra or a background kind of person. Like, you are so much a leading lady, a leading role. And I think that if you, you know, went to enter, like, audition for one of these backgrounds and be like, no, no, bring her up here.
I'll see this one again.
You
Yeah.
will steal the show so quickly that
Well, and you know what? For a while there, I was thinking I wanted to do some sort of, I don't know, an experiment, if you will,
Mhm.
about going to auditions that weren't called for women that look like me,
Mhm.
but going to just like, I'm going to this audition just to see, just to go and like kind of infiltrate the auditioning world and figure out what's really going on, or is it
Right.
because like who's the person behind it? Is it a director's choice? Is it a production, like the production choice? Is it casting's real choice? Is it like,
Mhm.
how come you don't see people that look like me and the capabilities that we have to, or even sisters and brother, like that's my
Yeah.
struggle. That's a huge struggle for me. I just found an old notepad that I had from 2013 where I used to take score of how many Black women I would see, and then how many ethnic people would be in the commercials, would be in the advertisements for TV and things like this, and just little dashes. I was like, oh, cha 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 cha. So it consumed me. You know, it went into my psyche because I'm thinking, this is how society sees me, or this is how society sees us, rather. And if it's not inclusive at the jump, if it's not inclusive at jump, then when we get outside, of course we're going to act crazy and like, like I only see one type of person, because you're only displaying one type of person, one type of being or culture or whatever, like that. And so, yeah, well, that's part 3.
But I think it ties in so well to literally what we were just talking about, because if you don't have diversity and inclusivity in all these ethnicities and nationalities represented in these commercials, in these performances, in these shows, then how can you really help society as a whole to accept different cultures, because you're not giving them the opportunity to see them in the mainstream media? So you are spot on with that. And it honestly, it kind of ties into one of the other questions that I wanted to ask you is, where do you see your career going? Like, what are your next steps? So you've already worked with major superstars, major celebrities. You've already toured nationally, internationally. You have an award-winning show. What are your next steps? What do you hope to still accomplish throughout the course of your career? Does it give you like a little anxiety trying to think about it? Like, oh my gosh, so much. I'm like, there's still so much I want to
do. Like, it's not over yet, is it?
Right. Far from it.
Gosh. That's an interesting question. I know with us in the show, we're actually doing a sister show, a companion piece that's about the relationship of Josephine Baker and Princess Grace, which is
because they were like really good friends, weren't they?
They had a remarkably unique relation. Take 2.
Okay.
They had a remarkably unique relationship, and it was tight. It was their own. It's not exploited like, some celebrities nowadays. It was very much their own, and it was beautiful. And that's going to be an interesting take for me, because that will be the second, that's a show. That's another show like this. I have to sing and dance, and I'm still playing Josephine. I'm playing a different version of Josephine, and still very much her life. But that'll be another challenge. And is that where it ends? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm feeling a little bit more like I do want a school of sorts, like start some sort of school for performing arts, if you will. And I don't know. Sky's the limit.
It really is. It really is. And again, I just have to say, I know that this interview and this conversation that we're having will help people get to know more about you, but they still won't really know you for real. And so, when you talk about how much more you want to do and the sky's the limit, it really is, because you are so incredibly talented that it's just really exciting, because I feel like you can effortlessly go in between different roles. So when you're talking about, who Josephine is in your show, Josephine, versus who she's going to be in this new, kind of spinoff that you're discussing. And it can be really challenging to switch between these two, different like personas or personality types, but when you do that, it gives you room to grow as an artist, because you're experiencing different avenues. So I think it's just going to be exciting to see all the different things that you do, and I think that you definitely should focus on this. How you used to take the notebook and you would count Now you just need to stop counting. Now you just need to break those doors down and be like, look, I'm here to audition. You want a white male? Guess what?
Guess what?
You need this.
Not today, bro. Not today, bro. Got this all day. What do you need? Oh, you need me to pick that up? Oh, no, call me.
Yeah, never mind.
You know something that I
call me when you get some better.
Right? No, I do really want to be able to sell Josephine and give it to young Black women, or not even just Black women, just young women that, well, I guess it would have to be Black women. Sorry. But I would love to be able to sell the show to different production companies and let them do it and offer that as a role in life. Because I don't know how many, there's not that many one woman plays. There's not that one woman, black woman, one woman plays out there. And so, and there's a lot of other Josephine things coming out, which is interesting. Because there's a television series and then another movie and things that are all trying to pop off. And I don't know, I felt one way about it, but now I'm just thinking Josephine the play has its own realm, its own thing. We've been doing it since 2016. It's proven, it's ours. And I am not going to worry about it. I'm not going to let the big dogs come on and put any shade on me.
Right. Well, and you shouldn't. Do you see it being almost like a Hamilton in the sense that it was a stage play and then they recorded it for TV and put it out for everybody to see who didn't come to the theaters?
I could see that. You know, RuPaul told me that RuPaul said he could see it being made by Baz Luhrmann. I was like, okay. Do you know Baz?
Let's make that happen, right?
You call him?
You want to hook me up?
Like today? No? Okay, later, okay. You
get on the phone right now. Just dial it up, I'll talk to him.
Mr. Luhrmann. So I could see that. I you know, reminiscent of Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill is very much a night in the thing and a night in her life, and she's telling, you know, she's going with this, but I could definitely see Josephine being put on that way and offered in a series that way. But they're gonna have to come with the right price, bro.
I know that's right.
Tyler Perry.
I've been doing this for a hot minute. Well, so how about this? How about you were talking about, you know, going into these different auditions and seeing whether it's the director, whether it's the casting director, like who it is for real. I was like, you need to take yourself to Atlanta, take yourself to Tyler Perry Studios, be like, excuse me, boo. Knock on them gates, let me in. Let me. Where's Ty? Talk about Ty told me to come up. Tyler wants to see me. Because I mean, I always say, you never know unless you try. And what's the worst somebody can tell you? What's worse? No.
All right, moving on. Next.
Yep. Right. But at least you know because you tried.
You tried. And, you know, that's a lesson that I learned from Josephine as well. Originally, like back in the day, she tried so many things and said yes to so many things. And I realized, I was like, well, why shouldn't I?
Yeah.
What's the problem? What's to stop me? Nothing. Okay.
Nothing.
Sure, I'll do it.
The only thing that will stop you is yourself each and every time. So, yeah. So what can people, when they go see Josephine, how can they see it? What are the next shows, productions? Where are you currently? How can people check you out?
We are currently performing at the Orlando Shakes, which you can find the schedule more so at orlandoshakes.org. And we run Wednesday through Sunday with 3 matinees sprinkled in there. Those are great. Those are great. I love those shows.
I would say something you told me yesterday evening. It was hilarious. I died laughing, but I don't know if it's appropriate for.
I was just thinking, I was like, can I say that word? No. But they're great.
Afternoon.
Your later midnight show is going to get that version.
Right.
And so after that, we might do a short stint over in Sanford at Theater West End. We do owe them a little love out there. And we will be here at Orlando Shakes possibly until the 4th, April 4th. But at the moment, it looks like it's just the 28th of March 28th. So
are you hoping to take the show back on the road after COVID lets up and things start returning to normal? Normal?
Whatever the new normal
is, right.
Finding a new normal. Yes. I think it'll be easy. It'll be easier to take because we are we only have me and my production, my producer, boyfriend, manager, like he's all the things. So it's just us that take the show around in 3 suitcases, and it's easy to book, and it's a good lesson. It's great. And I kind of love being the underdog that folks don't know anything about, and they get pleasantly surprised, and then they go off and talk about it.
Have a little conversation.
Have a conversation. Start the conversation.
Yeah,
start the conversation.
Doing what you intended it to do. Yeah. Okay, so we want people to follow you, love you as much as I do. So give a shout out to all your social medias. How can people follow you? How can they subscribe? And then if you are talking about people booking the show and being able to take it to different venues, how can people book you? So give us all that information.
Let's see. You can find me on Instagram at Random Times with Tush. You can also find the Instagram for the show, Josephine the Play Instagram, Josephine the Play on Twitter, Josephine the Play on the Facebooks. You can find the whole thing at josephinetheplay.com. You can find me at Tymisha Harris, /Tush, on Facebook. And is that it? I want to say that's it. We're probably working on something for the production company, which is called Dynamite Lunchbox, but that's not out yet. So Josephine the Play or Random Times with Tush.
And it's so funny. I love Random Times with Tush because if you follow her, and you all should, it's completely random. It'll be Saturday night at 6 o'clock. She will just come on live with a wig and a shawl and literally start singing to you out of the blue. And so I love those times so much. And then on a Wednesday at 3, I don't know, she might be in her car with a Slurpee or I saw you one time in your car just breaking it down. Yes, it is so random.
I remember that. I was like, yo. Sometimes I just got to get some things off my chest, and I need to talk to somebody. So it's just y'all. It's just y'all out there in space. You want to have a conversation with me? I mean, I'm sure I'll talk back. I can't read that fast, but it's all good.
Oh, I know. I've always wondered how you do that. So whenever you're doing anything live, people will make the comments and you literally are still replying as you're on live doing whatever you're doing. I'm like, this girl is beyond talented. I can't even. I'm just happy to be in your universe, as you say.
I am so grateful for you. I am so grateful for you. You make my heart sing. I get these texts from you, and it's like, happy Friday, girl. How you doing today? La la la, and I'm here and this, and I love it. And I so appreciate you being my friend and being here for me. It's the support groups, the support you give when I feel bad. Sometimes you just send a text and I'm like, what the so
it's literally my only way to keep up with you anymore. So I'm happy to do it. Hey, just checking in, making sure you didn't lose your phone again.
Oh my gosh, couple years that I just couldn't have a phone. What? You're so good with the phone, and then I just got bad with it, and then I got really bad with it.
Yes, you were in Canada and you lost your phone, and you were like, y'all, I lost my phone. If you need me, I think it was hit you up on Facebook Messenger or something like that. I couldn't even remember.
Messenger was the only way I could get it, and then that was if we got internet connect. Oh man, it's over. The whole summer. See ya.
Oh my gosh, yes, you keep me laughing, I swear. Okay, so as we begin to wrap up our conversation for our audience, because I know you and I are still going to talk off camera, what are some parting words that you want to leave the universe with? You're not leaving the universe. I'm just saying, our audience, you're still here. You got to stay here.
Already?
Yes, I know, right?
Too soon.
Don't go to the light. It's your ring camera. It's your camera.
I think as you walk further into this world and go out, lead with compassion and wit and strength. Don't be afraid to talk to new people. Don't be so bullish and garish, you know. Take it easy. Think about somebody, what their day might be going through, and practice compassion. And also nowadays, just practice safe six. Just practice safe six. Ask how they are from a distance. You know what I mean? Like, you good? You good? Okay. Fist bump, and then
fist bump, right? La, 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 la.
No, but and going with a good heart, going with a lighter heart, a lighter mind, and gratitude.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of those things lead to joy.
Bam. Easy. All wrapped up in a little bow.
It is. It really is. And that's what people seek out of life, is joy and happiness. And I know you have definitely brought a lot of joy and happiness to our conversation today. So thank you so much for joining us for this podcast.
Thank
for
you
more
for letting me.
information. So for more information on today's guest, you can head over to armaniray.com. And we want to thank you again for joining us for Start Now, a podcast to empower, inspire, entertain, and inform. You have to start somewhere, and you have to start sometime. So why not start now? Be safe and well, everyone.